In Afghanistan, the U.S. is being partially blamed for the killing of the police chief of Kandahar by local guards. The chief, Madoff, was reportedly killed by private contractors recruited and trained by the CIA to fight the Taliban. In Pakistan, the U.S. has resumed sharing surveillance gathered from military drone flights across Pakistani tribal areas. The spying cooperation comes as the Obama administration's rushing the delivery of military equipment, including helicopters and body armor, to bolster U.S.-backed Pakistani military operations against Taliban forces. Pakistan says it's preparing for a major offensive to hunt down Taliban leader Baitullah Masood in South Waziristan. Back in the United States, some 300 lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender activists gathered at the White House Monday for a reception hosted by President Obama. In a speech, Obama addressed criticism his administration has failed to meet campaign pledges to fight for equal rights.
We've been in office 6 months now. I suspect that by the time this administration is over, I think you guys will have pretty good feelings about the Obama administration.
Despite a campaign promise, Obama has made no specific move to overturn the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy on gays and lesbians in the military. Conceived in 1993 by the Clinton administration, Don't Ask, Don't Tell allows gay military personnel to serve as long as they don't disclose they're gay or engage in homosexual conduct. Obama said he remains committed to a repeal.
I know that every day that passes without a resolution is a deep disappointment to those men and women who continue to be discharged under this policy. Patriots who often possess critical language skills and years of training and who've served this country well. But what I hope is that these cases underscore the urgency of reversing this policy, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it is essential for our national security.
Obama's comments come as a military trial opens today for a 10-year veteran facing discharge for admitting he's gay. The soldier, U.S. Army Lieutenant Dan Choi, is a graduate of the West Point Military Academy and an Arabic translator. If discharged, he would be the 266th member of the armed forces removed under President Obama for violating Don't Ask, Don't Tell. In Texas, Fort Worth police are being accused of an anti-gay raid 40 years to the day after New York police raided a nightclub and set off an uprising that launched the modern-day gay and lesbian rights movement. On Sunday, police raided a newly opened gay club called the Rainbow Lounge in the early morning hours. 7 people were arrested for public intoxication, and others were at least briefly detained. One man was reportedly hospitalized with a brain hemorrhage after police threw him to the ground. The raid came on the 40th anniversary of Stonewall, when members of the gay community decided to fight back against New York City police in the Greenwich Village gay bar called the Stonewall Inn. The billionaire financier Bernie Madoff has been sentenced to 150 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed. Madoff pleaded guilty in March to running a massive Ponzi scheme that defrauded investors of some $50 billion. Many of Madoff's victims attended the sentencing Monday and broke into applause after the jail term was announced. We'll have more on Madoff after headlines. President Obama is raising objections to a provision in the House climate bill that would impose trade penalties on countries refusing to limit emissions of greenhouse gases. The measure, narrowly approved Friday, would cut U.S. emissions 17% by 2020 and 83% by 2050. At the White House, Obama said he hopes to avoid protectionist measures in seeking other countries to adopt emissions cuts. The Supreme Court has imposed new restrictions on how workplaces can seek to promote racial diversity in employment decisions. On Monday, the court ruled in favor of a group of white firefighters in New Haven, Connecticut, who alleged rules aimed at promoting workplace diversity subjected them to discrimination. At issue was a decision by New Haven city officials to discount a promotions test that had yielded poor results for people of color. The case has come under greater scrutiny because Supreme Court nominee Judge Sonia Sotomayor was part of a lower court panel endorsing New Haven's actions. And anti-torture activists are seeking the disbarment of 2 active CIA lawyers involved in authorizing the Bush administration's torture of foreign prisoners. On Monday, a coalition of advocacy groups called the Velvet Revolution filed complaints to disbar Jonathan Friedman and John Rizzo. Friedman is currently counsel for the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, while Rizzo is the CIA's current acting general counsel. The same coalition filed similar complaints against 12 former Bush administration attorneys last month. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Democracy Now!'s Anjali Comment.